Happy Wednesday. I'm Kelsey from Shipwreck Beads, and we are here on this sunny Wednesday morning, and we are going to talk about some more quick Christmas gift ideas. I love this time of year for creating gifts for family and the people I love, and this design idea is a really versatile one. And so it can be adapted for necklaces and bracelets, and it's a good way to use up some odds and ends and get a lot of bang for your buck when when it comes to creating a lot of gifts for a lot of people, and it's really easy to change up. And so we're going to be making, I pulled silver and gold. I've got some different beads that I've used in some other previous tutorials. And so we're just going to kind of work with what we've got and throw some stuff together and see what we come up with. It's a pretty easy design, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. So yeah, we might as well go ahead and get started because I've got a lot of stuff here that I want to show you, and yeah, let's go. All right, so you can see some of the beads I have pulled. I've got these really cool druzy pendants. And I've got some stone chips, some amethyst and rose quartz. I've got some turquoise chips here. The lava beads from a bracelet we did a couple weeks ago. Some stone daggers and some little quartz daggers here. So what we need to start out, you're going to need a chain and wire for this. I'm using 20 gauge wire, and I really hope it fits through some of these stone components. Stone has a little bit of a smaller hole, so sometimes the 20 gauge might be a little too big. But we're going to just go ahead and go with it. Morning, Deb. How are you today? I don't know about you, but I have been absolutely loving this weather we've been having the last couple days. It's been so beautiful out. I mean, yesterday it was what, almost in the 70s? I couldn't believe it. All right, so I'm just going to make sure that this wire or this stone fits on here. So these are some really nice quartz daggers. Ooh, that's sharp. They're unpolished. I'm doing pretty good. Got some coffee today. And today I volunteer at my daughter's school. Ooh, I'm bleeding. Be careful for that wire. It can get you. I'm gonna grab a Band-Aid real quick. All right. Looks like we've got Captain America Band-Aids. Hi, Carla. Aren't these ones fun? We're gonna play with these in just a second. But I gotta put a Band-Aid on because I stabbed myself with some wire and I'm bleeding. It's like the second time I've made myself bleed on these videos. Apparently jewelry is hazardous work. You know, I just cut off about a foot, and you actually don't need that much. I just don't want to have to deal with working with this big spool. So I just cut off a section, but you won't need this much. It only takes a couple inches. So I just wanted to test to make sure that those fit on there. So I'm actually going to take them off now. And I'm going to start by making a wrapped loop in my wire. And this is a 20 gauge wire that I'm working with. And the wire that you use really depends on the hole in your beads. But 20 gauge is a good size to start out with. The sacrifice, yes, many, many sacrifices. So I'm going to start by making a wrapped loop. So I'm going to turn a 90-degree angle in the end of the wire and then just flip that around. Try and do this without my finger here. Ooh, where's my other flat nose pliers? All right. These kinks are going to be a problem, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and string these little quartz daggers back on. These are like my favorite beads to work with. I absolutely love them. Whenever we get a shipment of them in, they come in, you know, the sizes can kind of vary. So sometimes they are really big and sometimes they're smaller. And every time we get a shipment in, I buy another strand because I love them. I use them in just about everything. Of course, that won't go through there. The wire's kinked. There we go. Come on, bead. There we go. But you do need to be careful with the stone because you can break it pretty easily. So there we go. So right now we're just making like a little tab piece, and it's going to have wire loops on either end. So to make the loop on this side, I'm going to grab it right at the beads, do a 90-degree bend, put my pliers up around on the top, and then continue my wrap. And I'm not doing a very messy wrap on this. And you can add spacer beads and whatever, and so we'll do that on when we play with these guys here. So you want to make sure, actually, so you want to, when you're using these sort of rough stones, you want to kind of leave some space so that they can move a little freely, and I didn't do that, but I think we'll be okay. Sorry. Okay, so now we're going to want to make sure that our loops are both facing the same direction. And it doesn't matter if they're facing forward or facing flat. They can face either way. But once you have your little connector piece, this is going to be the centerpiece in our necklace. So it's really a simple design, but it's really versatile, and you can use it for, again, bracelets, necklaces. It's a nice way to use up if you just have a couple of really cool beads. You can just throw them in a little wrapped connector like that and attach it to some chain. So we're going to do, I want kind of a shorter necklace. So I'm going to do like, I don't know, 9 inches of chain. Hi, Sissy. How are you doing today? And you can also wrap it directly onto the chain if you want. And we'll do that maybe with the next one so that you can see that process. And this is a cut Rolo chain. So it's a Rolo chain, but it's kind of got like a angled edge, and so it just gives it a little bit more sparkle. And so now we're going to connect our piece with jump rings. So I open my jump ring, and I'm going to slide on my chain, and then close that jump ring back up. And then I've got my chain connected to one side of my necklace. So these necklaces, especially with these quartz points, are super popular. I've seen them all over Etsy. I need my other pair of pliers. Sorry, they were on my other table. So I've seen these kind of necklaces all over Etsy. They're really trendy. They're a great layering piece. And it's a great way because you get, you know, with 16 inches on a strand of stone, you'll get quite a few of them. And which again, that does vary because the sizes of the materials vary. So, you know, you could get quite a few pieces. Oh, thanks for the link, Tara. All right, so now I've got my chain connected on both sides of the necklace, and so I need to add my clasp. And you can use, you know, a bigger clasp, or, you know, there's really a lot of different clasps you can choose from. But for something like this, I just like to go real basic. Where do my larger jump rings go? I thought I had them out. I just like to go with a basic lobster claw. And these ones are actually really cute. They're a heart shape. So that's just kind of a fun little Fun little detail. But you want to make sure that your clasp is in scale with the size of your design. So for this one, it's kind of a smaller piece, so we don't want to have a huge clasp on there. So again, with the jump rings, you always want to do them back and forth. You never ever want to pull them apart like this. So you just won't get them back into a round shape, and it's just really hard on the wire and it can cause it to break. Yeah, you can use gold, silver, any color will work. And again, it's a good layering piece. It's a good gift idea. You get a lot of bang for your buck out of your materials with this sort of thing. So what I like to do when I'm ending my necklaces, and you know, everybody kind of does it the same way, or a different way, I mean. Totally mangled that jump ring. Okay, we have to start over. So I like to end my clasp, like so I'll connect my chain with a small jump ring on one side, and then I'll connect my chain, a small jump ring, and then a larger jump ring to connect it. I'll usually use a soldered jump ring for my connector there, just so that I know it's a little more secure. But I already had these ones in my office, so we're just using these today. So there you have a nice, so you've got your big loop to connect your clasp through, and then you've got your little necklace piece. So it's just a real simple piece. And again, this can be used for necklaces, bracelets. We'll play with a couple other different stones here to just see the difference. But you can see how nice that just sort of came together like that. And of course you can make them longer, shorter, choker size. You know, it's just a good starting off point. And I love these quartz daggers. They're so cute. So go ahead and play with some silver now. I want to do these guys with the silver. So let's see which one. I think I'm going to use this one. You can see there's a lot of character on this strand. So each piece is kind of tells its own story. And whenever I'm going through, digging through strands, I look at the different beads, and usually there's one bead that really jumps out at me that makes me pick a certain strand. Would I sell that necklace? You know, I don't know. These are just using some base metal, inexpensive chains, so I would probably price this in the $20-ish range. For a pendant piece like this, I might go to 25 or something. It kind of depends. You usually want to look at the cost of your time to do it, plus the cost of your materials, and factor that in there. I shared a post a couple days ago, or last week, that had a nice little chart on it that showed how to price your jewelry. So I'll share that again in this post so you guys can take a look at that. But yeah, I'd probably, for a piece like this, go $20, something like that. I don't know. You know, honestly, I've never sold a lot of my jewelry, so I tend to just make it for friends, for gifts, and, you know, here at work for display in the showroom. And I actually have a really great deal with my hairdresser where I make her jewelry and she does my hair, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't actually sell a whole lot of mine, so I'm not the best person to ask on that. But just as far as what I've seen in the market, $20 I think would be a good range for that. Okay, so we're going to start, and hopefully this wire will fit. And it doesn't. I got to go grab a thinner wire. Hold on. Okay, we'll see if this 22 will fit. You never really know with the stone. Oh, come on. Okay, well, that's not going to fit either. Let's try another one of these. Oh, man, these have a really small hole on them. Hold up. All right, so I guess I don't want to go as small as a 24 because I feel that barely fits in there. So I just don't know that 24 will be strong enough, but oh, thanks for the share, Linda. Should be okay. That is one thing you do have to be careful of with the stone. And I could ream it out, but I don't have an electric bead reamer in here, so that's all right. That's a little bit of a time-consuming process too for a piece this big, so we'll just go with the thin gauge wire so you can see. See, that won't even fit in there. All right, well, that's the magic of live TV, right? So we're just gonna table those druzy pieces, probably do something strung with some beading wire for these, which you can actually do that for this design too, you know, and you just connect either side with crimps. So maybe we'll do that on a future video, but why don't we go ahead and play with this amethyst here. So these are some really nice drop pieces. They've got the hole going through the top here, and they're faceted, so they've got a little bit of sparkle to them too. So you can see these two beads are the reason that I picked out this strand, because you can see they've got some really cool matrix in there. Really fun. We're going to do 3 of these. Oh, how about that one? Always loved amethyst. There are just certain stones, I don't know. I don't know how much I believe in the whole metaphysical properties and all of that, but there are definitely certain stones that I find myself more drawn to than others, and amethyst is one of those, so I think we'll use that one. So again, we're going to start by making a wrapped loop on the end, which is really hard to do without using my finger here, but that's what I get for stabbing myself. Who knew jewelry was so hazardous? All right, so now I've got my little loop made there. And hi to everyone watching. I see we've got 42 people on here, right? Oh, 40. We lost 2 more. Oh, darn. That's all right. Okay. So I think we're going to add some turquoise chips too. Turquoise and amethyst, and I've got some silver spacers over here as well. And these are just some little tiara cast spacers. You can see those. They've got some little like bumps on the edge. They're cute. Just real small. I don't want something too big for this. That should be good. So we're going to start by adding a spacer. No! Why does it hate me? Oh, jerk. Oh, come on. Alright, I'm busting out the bead reamer anyway. Because it'll go through, but just not all the way. So right now I'm trying to even out this hole. So a lot of the times when they drill stone, they drill from one side and drill from the other. And so it will go all the way through, but it won't go all straight through. And so it can be hard sometimes to string wire and stuff through it because the hole is not completely even, like this one. It's a whole lot of trial and error. We're going to try this 22 gauge. Yeah. Should work better. That just barely didn't fit. There we go. So the 20 gauge didn't work with this wire. Oh, hi, Kathy. Thanks for watching today. I'll do that. I'm gonna add spacer in here. So yeah, sometimes you just have to play around, and with gemstones you just kind of never really know how big the hole on things are going to be. But you generally have to assume they're going to be smaller than your normal manufactured glass beads. See, even this one won't go through all the way. Looks like the hole should be big enough, but it's just not quite there. We're just going to keep that with the one, actually. I was going to throw 3 on there, but I think the 1 is just fine. So now we're going to make a wrap loop on the end here. So if you're going to be using wire, it's a good idea to make sure that you're just doing, you know, a small inch or 2 section of beads on there, because if you get much longer than that, it can have too much movement in it and it can break. So that's where you would want to do the same technique with like beading wire or something. So maybe actually, because I really want to do a necklace with those drusies, I will pull out the beading wire and we can take a look at that too. This is really hard to do with Band-Aid. Oof, that is ugly. There's my other pliers here because I can't grip it with my finger with this Band-Aid on. It's where these bent chain nose pliers come in real handy though. Tightened up there. So now you can see it's just like a nice little centerpiece. You can do some really cute birthstone jewelry with this. Oh, and I was going to wrap that directly onto the wire, wasn't I? It's that kind of day, I guess. I'm all flustered. All right, so let's try this again. We're going to start over. You get to see the creative process in action, and it ain't always pretty. All right, so we're going to start by wrapping this directly onto the chain. So that's what we were going to do this time. All right, so I've got my loop halfway done, and now I'm going to slip the chain through the loop, like so. And then I'm going to grip my loop with the tip of my pliers, and then I'm going to finish my wrap. Let's see how I did that. Okay, so you get a piece like that. Then, now I've got that connected to my wire, or my chain connected to my wire directly. Now we'll throw some beads on this. Got my little tab section here. No, this chain is not sterling. This is a just a silver base metal chain. But we do have sterling silver chains, so you can always use the materials of your choice in doing a design like this. You don't have to just stick with the base metal. But just as far as, you know, inexpensive gift ideas, yeah, doesn't need to be sterling. And obviously, as far as pricing, sterling you're gonna probably charge a lot more for. So now I've got my chain connected on one side, and I've got my wire gripped in my pliers. I'm gonna give it a bend here, then rotate my pliers up, bring that wire around, and before I finish the loop, I'm gonna connect it to my other end of chain. And so I've just kept my chain in one big section, but I'm going to trim it and add a clasp to it. And I really like, even with over the head necklaces, I like to add a clasp to it because I just think that's another way to sort of make it look finished and add some extra, you know, designy elements to it. And I also find it's a lot easier to untangle tangled necklaces if they've got a clasp on them. And if you're someone like me who has a whole lot of jewelry, then that can be an issue. I'm just going to tuck this end down. And sometimes I find it helpful to use your crimper pliers to tuck that end in. So you can see now it's just wrapped directly onto the chain. You don't need a jump ring. So that way is a lot more secure. So if you've got something that's a very valuable gemstone, you might want to wrap it directly onto the chain as opposed to adding jump rings. Now I'm just trimming my chain here, and I'm going to add my clasp. This is the same chain that I used in the gold, and so it's a Rollo chain, so it's got the even-sized rings linked together, but this one has a little bit of like angling, sort of beveling on the edge, and it just gives it a lot more sparkle. Got my little jump rings. Lobster claw, and a big jump ring to connect my lobster claw to. And again, you don't have to use this many jump rings. I just kind of have a thing with them. I like all the jump rings. I'm just moving my jump ring back and forth to get it to shut. Make sure this guy's shut too. And you have another quick piece of jewelry. Although this one took a lot longer than quick, just because I had a little bit of trial and error with my wire there, but sometimes you'll just run into those problems. So there is another quick necklace idea. And so again, like right here, we used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beads. So it's a really good way to use up those odds and ends to get a lot of bang for your buck. I mean, you could make a dozen necklaces with one strand of beads. So you can really get a lot out of your materials. And so if you're making gifts for a lot of people, your friends, your hairdresser, whoever it might be, this is a really great design idea that looks amazing but doesn't take a lot of time. So now we're going to go real quick. I'm going to grab some beading wire, and then I'll show you how to do the beading wire onto the chain in the same style. here somewhere. There we go. All right, so which one we were going to do? This one? See, that'll fit through the beading wire really nice. Or the beading wire will fit through it really nice. So we need some beads to put with this. I was thinking silver, but I think I might do gold. Well, I don't know where my gold cream beads are, so we'll go with silver. Okay. I think, let's see, we do some of these lava beads are pretty fun. And then we've got some purple in this. We'll do some amethyst. So this, because I'm using beading wire instead of craft wire, I'm going to be able to make it a little bit longer because you'll want that flexibility for a longer section of beading versus oh, I was good. I was up all night too, Ginger. I think we all were. I don't know about you, but it was a little bit of a stressful night for me. But that's all right. Here we are. We're making beautiful things to share with people we love, and that's what's important, right? So I think I'm going to string this on silver, but I like to mix my metals, so I'm going to have a little play around with that a little bit. So I want to do it on the silver chain, but I want to bring out the gold in this druzy piece. So this is an electroplated druzy, and it's got a lot of different colors in there. So I just kind of want to play around with some of the different colors. I'll just go ahead and string those on there. Like that one. Where's the hole? There it is. Second spacer on this one. Oh, thanks, Nancy. How are you doing today? Oh, thanks, Marky. I love hearing your guys' feedback. I do. Oh, forgot to add my bead there. Where did I have? Gold. It's nice to watch these videos later. Yeah, so these videos always show up on our Facebook page about, you know, like 5 minutes after the video is over. Then you can go back and watch it. And if you scroll through the comments, you can always see, I will add the supply lists and the different materials that we use, so you can take a look at the materials. So if you ever have a question about what I'm using, just go back through after the video is over. Usually takes me a few minutes to get that information up, but I always put it up. You may have to reorganize the comments so that you can see the most recent comment first. I want to do like a little round bead or something right there. I don't have one. Oh well. Oh, actually, no, I do. I've got some beads. That, and then put another amethyst, I think, and then some gold ones. Yeah, it is on our website. It is the item number. Are you talking about the druzy ones, right? So it comes It is ST32-9. And again, I will put links and supply lists up for all of the stuff that I've used today so that you can take a look at that later on. And then I'm using amethyst chips, tourmalated quartz, and lava beads. Oh, and then Tara just popped up the link so you can see it now. Oh. Gold. And the amethyst and turquoise. Yeah, it looks really nice. I really like how that turned out. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. I'm talking about this one, right? There we go. All right, so I like that, how that turned out. Oh, no. I'm tangled. All right, so we're just going to leave that alone. Otherwise, I'm going to... Chain. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to crimp this onto the chain. Got some crimp beads here. So I'm going to string on my crimp bead to my wire, string my wire through my last link of chain here, and then go back through the crimp bead to make a loop like that. Now when you go to crimp, you want to make sure the wires are parallel. Now if it's going like this, the wire is crossed, and you don't want it to do that. You want to make sure that they're parallel. So you have to hold them in place to make sure that they're parallel, and that way it won't create extra space through the crimp bead, and it won't allow those wires to grind on each other, which can cause a weak spot and then cause it to break. So to crimp, you've got your 2 holes on your crimp bead plier. You've got this first one that I think it looks like lips, but I watched a video on the Beadalon page a couple days ago with Wyatt White. He said it looks like a butt. So you want to do the butt part of the crimp bead first. Which I think that was pretty funny. So then you have, which I know you can't really see too well, so it gives you sort of a half moon, like hot dog bun shape. And then you're going to use the very front opening to round it back. And you don't need to do it very hard. If you crimp too hard, then you can crush those wires and cause it to break. Booty, yes. Now, when I was watching his video, and that was on the Beadalon page, he called it a butt, and I laughed so hard because I'd never thought of that before. But I was like, oh, it is a butt. Bead humor, I tell you what. Okay, so now I gotta finish up beading on this side. Gold and amethyst. There's the hole, there it is. And then silver, and then I had 2 of these little guys here. Right. Yeah, I always thought it looked like lips, but then when he said that it looked like a butt, then now that's what I'm gonna think every time I use my crimpers. So you can see on this larger piece, you want to have oh, that is a hard question. I got really lucky here at my position at Shipwreck. We didn't have a position like this for a long time, and just with the emergence of social media and that sort of thing, it just kind of happened. So I worked in our shipping department for a long time, and Yeah, and now I get to do this every day, so I love my job too. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up this side here, and oop, I'm gonna get that broken link out. Come on. Okay. Social media coordinator, yes, that's my you know, I would love to be able to do that, Kathy, but we have this on an iPad. So the way Facebook allows to do live videos is actually through, you have to use a device. So you have to use like a phone or an iPad or something like that. And so unfortunately we can't get the focus much better. But I'll try. And so yeah, that's just an unfortunate part. Hopefully they'll open that up so you can actually film on a camera and get some better detail. But right now, that's not really an option. So again, I'm just doing my 2 steps on my crimp bead. And you don't need to do it very hard. You don't want to crush the crimp bead or mangle it. You just need to close it and make sure that it's nice and secure, because it's going to hold those wires in place. Did it come back? Yeah, see, it's hard with the technology that we have to use. So there you go. You have your piece, and you can see why when you're using a longer section of beads, you'd want to use beading wire instead of craft wire, just because the beading wire is going to allow more flexibility and movement. And when you've got a long piece like that, to have it with the craft wire, you're going to get, when you try and have that movement and that flexibility, it's just not going to work, and it's not going to hold up over time. So for doing a small section like this, totally use the craft wire. That's what it's there for. It's perfect for making links. But for a longer section like this one, you definitely want to have the beading wire instead. And you can also do this with bracelets too. I mean, if you have a beaded section, you know, you just cut your chain to size, and you're not going to have it be quite as long. And you can do this with any kinds of beads. I love this druzy piece. I love how that turned out. And this is actually long enough to go right over the neck. And you can use gold chain with this design too, but I just really like how that, make earrings to match. Probably not on today's video. Look what time we're getting. Yeah, we're getting a little long on time. I try and keep these videos around a half an hour, but I think on Friday we can make some earrings with these same materials and see what we can come up with. Yeah, definitely. All right, so we'll go ahead and focus you back up here and say our goodbyes for today. All right, so today we made the 3 different necklaces really quick. So we made this one using beading wire and some really pretty gemstones. And then we made this guy here. Oh, thank you. The 1-step crimper. I don't know. I've never actually used that one, Kathy, so I'm not sure. And then we made this one. This is my personal favorite, and I actually have a few of these that I've worn. Why to use the... Oh, well, good. Thank you. I'm glad. I try and keep it, because it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of different materials, and there's a lot of options, and a lot of times there isn't a right or wrong, but sometimes it does help to know how the different materials work and why it's better to use one over the other. But yeah, I love this one. And actually my earrings here, these earrings that I'm wearing are from a blog project. They're the 3-2-1 earrings, 3 beads, 2 eye pins, and 1 ear wire for 1 pair of earrings, or 1 earring. But that you can find on our blog. And then, so yeah, so we made 3 necklaces using minimal supplies. Great Christmas gift ideas. We'll be back again on Friday. I think we'll make some earrings, play around with maybe some of these same materials here, and take a look at that kind of thing. And yeah, so we'll be back Friday at 4 p.m. on Pacific time. And then I will also be on Twitch tomorrow doing, I'm not sure yet. So we will see you.